Thanks a lot, Katerina. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to my webinar, broadcasting live from Mexico City. Today is Wednesday, April the 12th, 2017, local time 2 a.m., 11 minutes past the hour, 7 a.m., 11 minutes past the hour, GMT time. This is my picture. This is me. These are my social media, the Google Plus and the YouTube channel. And please allow me a second. I was just wondering if I could share something already with you. No, but apparently no. Okay, so let's. I would like to read up. We have some comments in the very beginning. Okay, Katerina said, "Let me mute my music. I can't stop wondering how different our tastes in music are," said Katerina. Oh yeah, go figure. Haven't you noticed that? I mean, yeah, I noticed that a long time ago. But I don't dislike your tastes in music. When you share something, you've shared with me some links of music. I like it. Maybe I don't have the attitude to listen to that kind of music, but I like it. There are very specific kind of music that I don't like. If it is colorful, I like it. FX Rabbit, hello Katerina and iiivb. I hope you both are doing well today. Well, FX Rabbit, yes, I am doing okay. The world apparently is not. How are you doing, my friend? FX Rabbit asks if Katerina was listening to opera. Well, opera, it's a choice. But no, she said that she was listening to a link that I cannot open because if not, my computer will crash. This is what I have been listening before the webinar, but I can recognize the artist in the picture. And oh, we have people that for long haven't been here. Rocas, good morning. How are you doing? All the guests. 888 rate. I don't remember the last time I saw you here. I believe it was more than 1 month, maybe 2 months. And DJ iiivb. How are you guys? Well, I am a kind of okay. I must admit I am kind of nervous because of the current situation in the world. Of course, I don't need to explain why, because I am sure you're already aware. Yeah, we're going to talk about that Japan is strengthening because, yeah, the market, we've been tracking the possibility that maybe for this certain time, the dollar could have outperformed the dollar yen because of the proximity of Japan to North Korea and the risks of having a nuclear strike by North Korea in Japan or South Korea, that might help the dollar to strengthen, but for some reason maybe the markets are ruling out that kind of outcome. So in one hand, having Japanese strength is good because that could be the message that maybe they are foreseeing that nothing of that size could happen in Japan. When I long dollar yen, FX Rabbit says that when he longs dollar yen, it margin calls him. And when he shorts it, it goes higher. Oh my God, 170%. Ooh. You shorted it where? At the very bottom, I believe. And AAA rated says, just stick to technicals and don't lose. Okay. So, 109.55, we are currently at, let me check. Let me check quickly. Yes, well, it was very low. I mean, you could have a chances that this could continue to the downside, right? But yeah, it could bounce back a little bit. So yeah, if you are 170%, yeah. I don't know, maybe you would like to close it and open a slower position, maybe open another one instead of dollar yen. AAA says, and I think euro going to reach 106.50 only to fall 105. FX Rabbit says that he was just scalping. Okay. So you mean not in the trading contest, so you mean in live account. If you listen to me sipping something, it's because I am drinking my coffee. So let's start. Here it says, yes, AAA rated. Ms. Yellen said that interest rates can be expected to rise sooner than later. Yep. So let's try to see what has happened the latest 24 hours. It's been interesting. Before starting this overall trading stuff, I would like to dedicate 10 minutes or 5 minutes. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, FX Rabbit margin call. Sorry to hear that, my friend. Yeah, it hurts a lot when one has margin call. I've been there, done that tons of times. And yesterday you were long 109.75, you got a margin call. Well, then you're over leveraging. You're not allowing the market just to do its thing. I think. But I don't know. I mean, I don't think that you are a novice trader, right? So I believe that you just know what you're doing. Maybe you just like to run risk. 1-300 leverage with full use of margin. Okay. Yeah, I have wiped out some accounts with that kind of leverage. So let's review what has happened. I was maybe wondering to start the webinar with my traditional geopolitical stuff. I really don't know. Well, I just begin there because it gives context of what's next. Okay, what has happened? After Donald Trump hit Syria, Russia, Iran, etc., were like trying to show that they defended the Syrian government, accusing the American government to be the one orchestrating this vast chemical attack over the population of Syria. And just immediately after, what Donald Trump did was to send a lot of troops to North Korea. And it's building stronger forces there. And for a lot of people, of course, including myself, it's very worrying to see that, because at some point we really don't know how nervous a leader could become and could start attacking first. Okay, let's remember the fear and greed in the markets. The fear and greed are the fuels of the market, because they make people to make mistakes. And then when the mistakes arises is where the smart money comes in. Unfortunately, here we don't have any kind of a smart something coming. If this guy is really scared and decided to start attacking, that wouldn't be good for North Korea. I mean, I believe the strategy of Donald Trump is very basic. He's really trying to put overall the North Korean leader and overall the ones that surround the president of North Korea, to put them very nervous, to push them to negotiate something with China, and try to break the regime from the inside, because when you have your life threatened or your lifestyle threatened, and then you see very close the possibility that that lifestyle, etc., could actually end, you will try to adapt and to preserve that. So I believe that it is clear now for a lot of people that surround the president of North Korea that the end is near, at least the way that they understood North Korea. It is clear that even if none of the United States or North Korea strike first, the reality is that if this is a signal for North Korea that don't make any further missile launches nor nuclear tests, okay? So that will make lose, I don't know if the credibility is the word, but the status to the North Korean leader, overall, the ones that surround him. Not the overall population, because they are really controlled by mass media, even more than Western countries. So, yeah, it's interesting, this move. It's very risky. Again, I've been commenting the latest webinars that maybe the dollar-yen price action in this very occasion could be favored to the upside due to the, of course, risks of having a strike by North Korea to Japan and South Korea that could be a nuclear one. Of course, I see very difficult that in that case the dollar-yen could continue going down. So seeing this going down helps me to believe that this is not going to end that way. And this is pretty much about it. I mean, I am scared of having a... There is something that is called how is it said? Game theory, that was popularized by this Beautiful Mind movie by John Nash, that portrayed the life of John Nash. And according to game theory, all the board is set up for North Korea to precisely not to move that piece. And beforehand, Donald Trump warranted a solution for North Korea that could look like honorable and not as a surrounding option, meaning before approaching vessels, he warranted himself talking to the Chinese president and making him agree to push North Korea to stop the nuclear program. So now North Korea has an option. So he's not only he was not approaching the vessels with no further solution than a strike, no. But this is really sending the signal that you need to negotiate now and to stop it now. So I believe that the markets are reading this. It is understandable that the North Korean leader, if he is a normal man with a normal intelligence, he would realize that using this nuclear option is not an option, because that would be the end of the regime. I mean, North Korea will be wiped out, period. So the climate consequences, the surrounding climate consequences in China and Russia, in Japan, South Korea, whole Pacific, the west coast of the United States. So it is not really an option for anybody to use the nuclear option. Fortunately, but well, maybe not for the ones that continued believing that dollar-yen was going to continue to the upside. I changed my bias from the 110.60. I changed my bias. Actually, I shorted there at the 110.65, and I got closed at profit at 110 yesterday. I believed that the 110.60 was the line in the sand for the active bears to at least try to get in the market. And I have a lot of messages. Let me read up. Here it says, oh my God, we have a... Here it says, Okay, let me read. FX Rabbit, Trump sent additional troops to South Korea. That orange monkey. Well, he said he sent submarines. Implicitly nuclear ones with nuclear armament. So the message is clear. The message is clear. The message is like you have two pseudo-alpha monkeys trying to fight, but one showing stronger muscles. I mean, it's a no-brainer thing. If you really want to fight, that is not the way to fight, because you will be defeated, period. And the only way you can counter-arrest a little bit that difference, it's not an option. Because that would mean the destruction of the regime. I mean, I really don't know what could be the consequence. I really don't know if North Korea uses this option, these nuclear options, if the United States would attack back using those similar weapons. I really don't know. But I think that will be the end of the privileges of this guy. So if he negotiates now, he could stay in power enjoying the privileges he has. But he needs to negotiate this, needs to give this in exchange. And nobody is telling him that it's not going to be in exchange of something. That is why this guy is giving him the Chinese option to negotiate. So what I believe that eventually will happen is that you will have a coup inside North Korea, you will have the leader assassinated, or you will have actually North Korea negotiating this. I believe those are the three things that could happen, not a natural confrontation. The thing is that for a long time, North Korea has been having a belligerent speech, belligerent narrative. And during Obama's administration, Obama is super conservative in that way. So I believe that now the North Korean president is just facing one guy as him. Because Donald Trump is exactly the same personality as him. So it is different, and maybe it's the first. He needs to know how to understand what is happening and to be able to differentiate that this is only a pressure measure. Because the United States is not stupid. The United States knows that this guy has his weapons, and the question is he going to use them if he is attacked, or only if North Korea is invaded? Yesterday, North Korea said for the first time that if he was attacked in any way by the United States, North Korea would use the nuclear force. So that is something to consider. But well, it's a very complicated thing, this chess game that is happening there. I really don't know if Russia will try to counterweight this climatically. I mean, North Korea is so close to Russia, is so close to the United States, is so close to China. I mean, if you're close to China, Japan, South Korea, let's put it this way, are the biggest economy in the Pacific. If you have, due to nuclear fallout, disruptions of any kind, you will have a global recession. And that is something that won't help the American economy, and there won't be any economy benefited by that. Climate, China and Russia will be severely hit. So why? Well, of course, the explanations are obvious. Okay, this climate stuff, this radiation fallout. So yeah, I believe, again, now that I see the dollar-yen price action, I believe that the markets are having beforehand information that maybe this won't even escalate to a military conflict, that this will be solved either by negotiation or by a coup inside North Korea. Because in North Korea you have the most part of people dominated by the mass media and indoctrinated by the mass media. But of course the ones that are pro-regime, they have access to other kind of information. They know how fragile the Korean economy is, and they know the real situation, or closer to reality situation, of what are going to be now the consequences of North Korea developing nuclear weapons massively. And they have realized that their leader is not willing to negotiate something, because this guy believes that land belongs to him and his family, and that it's like a private property for him. So it's his land, his rules, whatever he likes. So maybe that will cause a sabotage behavior inside North Korea. I mean, it is unsustainable. These measures are going to reflect how unsustainable the regime in North Korea is from the very inside. They said that it is very fragile, that the people is very frightened to really remove this guy, but there are leaders that want him out in North Korea, and this will help North Korea. Yeah, I mean, this will help to see how fragile is in fact from the inside this regime. So we have tons of messages. If he attack North Korea, then Jan 70, that ain't going to happen. He won't attack. I agree with you. I don't think, unless North Korea attack first, yes. But this is the same game he's been using during his whole lifetime as an entrepreneur and as a president. He has diarrhea in the mouth, and he knows that works for him. When you spit diarrhea from your mouth, of course, people, just to be away from you, maybe they would even let you do what you want, but stay away from him because of that. So I believe this is kind of the same stuff. On the other hand, I believe that Donald Trump is pro-war. Yes, he has the temper of that. I believe that this guy understands very differently war. And maybe if he had been not a billionaire, maybe he would have performed very good in the military, because he knows this. He likes to use power. He likes to use force. But I don't believe that this will be. This is a psychological game yet. So let's hope that stays that. I mean, imagine North Korean leader and population and the ones that surround him living with this fear 1 year. Of course, somebody will lose his head and want to do something, either attack or remove the reasons of the threat. The reasons of the threat is this program. So yeah, I believe that this won't escalate. I hope so. Here it says China and Russia will intervene in World War III. It says AAA rated. I believe that China was offered a very interesting thing while meeting with Donald Trump, and now is changing his views on North Korea. I believe that the same thing is happening in Syria. Russia defending his ally in Syria, this guy, Assad. But I believe that if there's a proposition from the Americans to the Russians that they will keep the influence in Syria, but not just with this guy, maybe they will simply accede to remove Assad. Because the states don't have friends, they have interests. And in the meanwhile, Russia and Chinese interests are untouched or are even bigger. They could have an ally and a friend today, and it could become an enemy next day, because it's better for their interest. So I believe that is more or less the game that Donald Trump is trying to play. And sending a signal, with North Korea sending a signal that it is serious. If you develop a nuclear program, you could be and will be attacked at some point. But well, I don't think that that will work either, because countries will try to continue to develop this kind of armament because of these reasons. I mean, you develop these reasons because you are always fearful of the United States imposing its will on your land, and for some, this is the justification to do it. It is as intelligent to develop this kind of weapons because at the end, the United States is the one justifying its existence and need for other countries. This is rhetoric because this is not the way it works. Because but that's another story. I will just now start talking currencies, okay? We have a lot of comments. FX Rabbit says, okay, here's our talking AAA rated and FX Rabbit on the matter. Okay, I believe that they're involved in the conversation. Well, but what I believe the bottom line is that we all don't want a nuclear war because of the consequences, right? The civilian, the climate, all that. So I really want to believe that my reading on dollar yen is telling us that it is safe to have dollar yen. It's because nothing bigger will happen. Okay, that is what I believe. So as long as I see the dollar yen going down, I won't have maybe any reason to be worried beyond some point. So let's move to the review quickly of my price boxes on yen. Well, this was again April the 5th. And this big sell-off happened just at the border of this. We have to remember that these are not exactly timed boxes, so you could have a variation. So, well, it was here maybe at the very border. So, yeah, it could count as outside the box. So, well, this box, and this is why I told that yesterday that I was really proud of this price boxes because they really were good at anticipating the price action after I drew them. Some people believe that I draw them after the fact, but no. These boxes were drawn while the price was here or here. So everything after, of course, I was not moving the boxes. So, well, now we have, I shorted here. I was long 111. I was stopped out at 110 and 60. I shorted here and I took profit here. Of course, because as I said in another post that I will read, I was expecting that if there was any bull interest out there still, it should appear here in the 110. But yeah, all the things happening now in the world, maybe bulls will try to find some better times to show the horns. Not now. I mean, maybe now is not a good way overall because the market just demonstrated that yes, it wants to go to the downside here under this USD risk. Wait a second. But well, again, for the ones that were still watching these boxes, you could have had a good timing too by this box when this sell-off could have happened. In other words, when I was stopped here and I put a short order here, I was watching this box. When this actual candle happened, I was not watching the market. But my idea was that yes, if I am shorting this, yeah, the chances are that here this could go lower. It has pretty much two weeks this, so yeah, maybe I was not willing to take this box for granted just as a reference, but it worked. So let's move to the other one. Well, I was explaining this is, I believe yesterday's. I was explaining, yes, it was yesterday's because these are Monday price boxes. Okay. I was saying that I was expecting that at that time all the price action should be scoped by these two boxes at the 111. I opened a long trade. I was stopped here. I put a short order here. I was explaining yesterday that we were just about to see a very interesting situation where, due to the importance of this swing high, that oh my god, why I closed it? Let me open it again. Well, give me a second. Well, yes, it will be very hard to find it. When you see this swing high, and I was explaining this swing high because it was inside two price boxes. This high was very important, and anything drawn from that point was going to be very important to the downside because it was confirmed here that when the market got here again, got sold off, 100 psychological was not good enough to stop it. Then we got to a very decent area that could signal you that this should continue to the downside. In this case, for me, was a 110 and 60. I shorted here just at this line. I was explaining that due to this important, of course, support, we could have some kind of demand here, but due to the steepness of this line, maybe the bulls, I said yesterday that the bulls maybe that could be standing on this line will try just to wait a little bit more because they knew in advance that if they bought here, they could find a lot of resistance just above. So maybe it wouldn't just worth the risk. And I said something like, when you have this kind of stuff, very steep and strong resistance line, very close to a support line, maybe what you would like to see is just to, okay, let's allow this to get further, the further it could from the line, so we then could long, because here it's very close. Overall, because of the strategic risks. And afterwards, the market demonstrated that yes, even in this occasion, they would rather hold yen than dollar. I believe that's what it is, because if you see, this trend line was not even tested. I mean, it was tested here, but just beforehand, it was tested here as a resistance, and look, the reaction. So I was commenting that the risks were that the bulls would be scared of longing here because of the proximity of this strong resistance line. Of course, the no-brainer area is the psychological 110. I was stopped out in profit. This trade that I opened here was closed here. I was analyzing the market maybe to go long at this area, but the price action is not ready yet. So yeah, maybe going long is not going to be a smart decision now if you are maybe willing to hold to grab 70 pip or something. Just quick moves if you know how to trade them. Yeah, maybe dollar yen could be an option to long it. But in any case, that maybe you don't know really how to trade smaller time frames, it's just a good idea just to stop and to watch what's happening here, because fundamentally, the 111, if a war is not triggered, that hit Japan, of course. Well, the thing is that if you have something that hit Japan, it will go into recession. Okay? So, theoretically, that would change the move. But we need to wait and see. I mean, it's a complete mess what is happening now in the price action in dollar yen. And we have no references of a war of this size in this century. So maybe longing here is not an option until we see the tensions just fading away. I don't think that will happen in the short future. So maybe figuring to short at these levels, or when this trend line is hit, maybe it's an option. If you analyze smaller time frames and you see confirmations there, maybe it's a safer way to play this. But of course, it is safer, but maybe it's not as profitable. If you decide to long here and for some reason it rebounds, it could rebound up to the 111, for example. So of course the reward could be higher. But it depends on your profile and your skills and what type of trader you are. But yes, I was wondering maybe to open a long trade here, but no, I just simply, I didn't see any confirmation. I mean, yes, maybe in the 1 minute, in the 5 minute, you see short waves to the upside. Yes, you do it, but as for example, really considering them as a serious trading opportunity that could yield 30, 40, 50, 60 pip, no, I don't think so. And if it happens, it's under huge risk and uncertainty. I mean, you could long here, and maybe you could put your stop loss here. That would be the recommendation. Okay, if you're trading against a major trend, as I've been seeing in other webinars, what you do is you use the shortest stop loss. If you're trading against a trend fundamental, in this case, your strategic movement, you just don't play with fire. If you're going against it, you just put your stop loss here. But you could be stopped out. You could be stopped out again and again and again. So yeah, this is what I believe that dollar yen is about to do. I believe I was explaining this was my yesterday's post. Time has come to really test if the bull sentiment persists out there at this psychological level, the 110. After an almost continuous sell-off from the 115.50, the most likely zone where the bulls may be hidden is just here. If bulls show their horns, might be supported by this double bottom 4-hour pattern. And the 4-hour pattern we have, I don't know if this is still active, but I believe it is. We have a double bottom. In this case, would become a triple bottom in the future. But what this means is that this zone, for example, the 110, that is just below this, is showing that, yes, there are at least technical chartist chances. Technical, not fundamental, technical. The technicals could give way to maybe at the slightest signal of tension release that I believe is about to happen. I believe is about to happen in the next hours, that the North Korean leader will talk to the Chinese president to try to solve this. That is what I believe. So maybe at the first sight of tensions losing, bulls would have this help. As I said here, if bulls show their horns, might be supported by this double bottom 4-hour pattern. So we're still at a good price. We are still oversold below the 110. In any case, that maybe this continues going down. This is a shorting place. This is a shorting place. If you draw the trend line that I showed you, this is the shorting place close to the 111. So yeah, the good thing about this big volatility to the downside is that it opens levels and opens big swings. So if you know how to profit from them, either to the upside or the downside, you could yield 20 pip, 30 pip in a day. But of course, that is very tough. Well, this is the triangle that I put on, I don't know the dates, you can see it, but well, these are my Monday's price boxes. So we see here how this is broken. This is the first double bottom point. This is the second. So as you can see here, shorting this could be a good idea, or showing at this level is a good idea. You need to keep up with your analysis and your interest and to decide whether to go long or short. But these are the lines in the standing dollar yen actually, and write down. Okay, and this is the same thing. So let me see if we have something interesting happen. Well, I don't know. I believe that that's going to be everything for today, guys and girls. Let me just check how dollar yen is doing. Okay, this is something interesting. Let me show you. This is the latest charting pattern in the 4-hour. So the configuration changed. And I should be drawing the next price boxes based on this. In the next hour. So now what we have is a descending triangle in dollar yen in the 4-hour chart. So as you see, we just broke to the downside. This triangle comes from the very close to the 115.50. So this triangle is super important because it is considering the highest swing and the lowest low. That was very emblematic. This includes the sell-off and these Syrian and North Korean problems. So the analysis of this triangle, how you analyze it in lower time frames, is what will give you maybe the best clues to try to build your trading plan. So what I will do in the next hours is to analyze this and to post it in the trader's blog. My conclusions. But either way, you see that we have a potential shorting point at 110.20 here. That on this price action really structurizes in a way, we really don't have any kind of floor here. Only the psychological 110. So I will analyze this and post something in the next hours in the trader's blog. We have a comment here. Here it says, dollar yen only came up as far as it could take me out and now might move lower. Well, you know that the market loves to do that, my friend. For some reason, it even appears that the market is watching our trades just to trigger the stop loss and move in the other side. Yeah, that happens all the time. But well, it may be maybe if you had used less leverage. I don't know if you're using from the very beginning that 300 leverage and just allowing the rest. Sorry. Or you're actually visualizing a stop loss and use your leverage in tandem with that. Yeah, this take profit thing that you mentioned, that it forces us to take profit at a much less profitable position. Yes, that is something that happened because I shorted dollar yen. I believe it was here. And I had to take profit here because I was expecting, no, I shorted here, I believe. And I had this, and when it did that, I just took profit here. And of course, I was expecting a bigger move at this moment, but it just went up. Yes, but this is what trading is. We need to design a plan, follow the rules, and see how the market moves. The market is built tick by tick, volume by volume. And maybe I was right when I shorted here, but everything changed afterwards, and I had to adapt. So yeah, but that happens all the time. That is why having 100% of the trades correct is irrelevant. Is knowing how to adapt. You could have 50% of profitability in your trades, but if you know how to adapt, that is a clue. Because if somebody is lucky and every trade is taken at the maximum take profit target, it is good, but usually the markets are not that straightforward. So if one doesn't know how to adapt to that, well, we are not traders. because we don't know how to trade. Trading is knowing how to adapt to this. The other thing could be luck. The other thing could be, you can call them the way you want it. Here it says AAA rated says scam. What is it in scam, AAA? I don't know what. Well, then you have to think like traders that do the hedge fund trading. Yes, it's like the big guys. They of course have tactics and strategy, but their strategy is long lasting. So you could have a lot of traders shorting here, and just when I took profit, they just decided to continue shorting because the trend was in that direction. Yes, it's knowing what they are doing and trying to find an opportunity in between. Of course, their interest is super different, but when since they have a lot of money to invest, it could take them a lot of time to recognize that a position is completely wrong. Hedge funds, the function of hedge funds is precisely hedge positions in a way that minimizes the risks, but still is biased in a certain way. I mean, you can buy 100, let's say, you can sell $1 million against dollar yen, and you can buy $1 million against Turkish lira. So you're actually hedging your dollar position, right? You are longing in one, shorting in another, or you're longing stocks and you're longing dollar in other, in a currency market, etc. Or you're buying options in the market, whatever. So at the end, theoretically, you're hedged, but the inherent inefficiencies in the market are the ones that will open the opportunities to profit. So yeah, it is trying to figure out trading from that point of view helps, because it releases the pressure that you need to be right every time, because you can still make money even if your positions are incorrect. So the hedge fund trading way, let's put it that way, if it's really understood, releases that stress. You don't need to be the super trader with no losses to profit. But you need to have your margin available to hedge, or to close your trade, or not to lose your all account if you're a retail trader, of course. So FX Rabbit says you're absolutely correct. AAA Rate says, well, then you have to think like the traders that do the hedge fund trading. Scam was dealing desk. Things like FXCM got fined, price manipulation. Yes, there's a lot of dirt in the forex industry. It is amazing how supposedly the American regulation is the best one, and maybe the most scandalous and popular crashes and failures and frauds in the forex industry have happened under the United States supervision, right? We have REFCO like 13 years ago. We have FXCM. We have this pyramid schemer, I just forgot his name, that for decades. So yeah, so what's the sense of pretending being so tough on regulations when you're not really able to keep up with that and to follow up that? Lehman Brothers and Run, and now we have the best broker ever. Well, Dukascopy, yes, it's a very good one. I mean, I deliver webinars here, so if I thought this was a bucket shop, well, of course I wouldn't expose my name. Yes, it's a very good one. I like it a lot. Eva Traders is not good. Eva. Okay, guys and girls, it's time to close the webinar, to call it a webinar. I would like to remind you, these are my social media, and that I expect you tomorrow at the same time, same place. Remember that I will post in some hours in the Traders blog my price boxes for maybe the rest of the week. So stay tuned there. This is me, myself, Alberto Alvarado. Remember to trade safe, be safe, and bye-bye.